Hello there, my name's Nick White and I'm the Executive Vice President of the International Telecommunications Users Group, known as INTUG. INTUG has been representing the interests of business users of telecommunications around the world since 1974, and we greatly value our close association with APECTEL, which serves a vital region of the world. Advances in Asia Pacific are an example to many, not least in Europe, where I'm based. We envy you the bandwidth which some of you enjoy. We have much to learn from you. But today, in this short contribution to your international roaming workshop, I want to share with you the experiences INTUG has had on this topic, and in particular to tell you what has been done in Europe. INTUG first looked at roaming back in 1998 and 1999 when one of our members analysed the charges for calls and discovered that they were inconsistent, not cost-related and extortionately high. There was clearly market failure and pricing operated like a cartel with no incentive to reduce prices. Vodafone did offer a Euro tariff and some corporate discounts, but prices remained really high, and eventually it was concluded that regulation of wholesale and retail prices was the only way to make progress. The threat of regulation caused some slight reductions, but it was not enough. The first EU regulation achieved encouraging reductions, and Commissioner Reding estimated that the reduction was as much as 70% in some cases. But some operators responded by changing their metering intervals from per second to per minute to try and recoup money, and they all moved together to cluster around the new maximum price, so there was still no real competition, they just hadn't got the message. So we've now got a second regulation extending the period and reducing prices further, and including text messages and mobile data. In mobile data, there have been some horror stories recently where people used their mobile for a modest amount of data while roaming and got a terrible shock when they finally got their bill. The first roaming regulation reduced the cost of making calls to 49 cents per minute for making a call and 24 for receiving, with a sliding scale of annual reductions. The new regulation reduces prices down to 35 cents per minute to make a call and 11 cents for receiving by 2011. And before regulation, charges were as high as €1.10 per minute. And there's also a requirement for per second metering after the first 30 seconds. The retail price for texts will be capped at 11 cents for sending them and will remain free for receiving them, and the current average is as high as 28 cents, with some as much as 80 cents. There's going to be a wholesale cap of €1 per megabyte for data, reducing later to 50 cents, and this must be metered in kilobytes, and there'll be a provision for protecting customers with a cut-off mechanism at €50. Now you may ask, how has this affected business travellers? Well, the custom and practice had been to leave your mobile at home or only to turn it on when you were about to make a vital call. This had inhibited business. Now, of course, people are more confident that they can behave a little more as if they were back in their home country. And let's not forget that this roaming charge for travel also applies to personal use, for example when on holiday. We used examples from the Athens Olympics to illustrate just how much visitors to the Games were being charged. The bottom line is that any charge which penalises you for trying to operate outside your home country represents a tax on trade, especially when it bears no relation to the cost of providing the service. In Europe, roaming charges were working against achievement of the single market, so something had to be done, and now finally it has. I suspect these arguments may also apply to many of you, particularly in regions where there is frequent business travel and growing international trade, in which case I encourage you to examine what it's costing you, perhaps right now when you're travelling. It only remains for me now to wish you well for the rest of your workshop. Try not to get too sunburnt if the weather's good there, and keep an eye on your mobile bill when you get home. Thanks very much. Goodbye.